We're getting closer to the first of tonight's two races, then the Nations Cup Top 24 Superstar Race for the EMEA region. Let's kick things off. Talk us through the race.
Oh, my pleasure. Right then, so here is your circuit for today. We're going to be racing at the very exciting Mount Panorama track, aka Bathurst, New South Wales in Australia. This is a 6 kilometre long circuit, and remember, it's got some real Gran Turismo history to it. In 2015, two GT Academy graduates, Wolfgang Reep and Florian Strauss, won the Bathurst 12-hour in a Nissan GTR. So, very memorable circuit, of course. Highlights for me would be going over Skyline, top of the mountain, and then that massive plunge down here. You don't see it too well on the track map, no elevation there, but when we'll get some onboards later on, from T11 down to Forest Elbow T18, pretty much a sheer downhill, then Conrod Straight. Great for slipstreaming. We'll see a lot of opportunities to overtake there, and then back down to 23, the last corner. Going to be doing that quite a few times this race, and just getting around here once is an effort. Getting around here for the entirety of this race is going to be a different thing.
So, rolling started, Jimmy. Are we going to be expecting hell into Hell's Corner, or do we think we're going to be nice and clean?
Well, from what I've seen so far, these guys are fairly clean off the line. They all know it's a 25-minute race. You've got to get to the end to actually score some points here, so no point throwing it away. T1, the guys warming up their tyres right now. TRL for Russell have one eye ahead, one eye in his mirror back to his teammate, TRL Lightning. Very interesting livery there from TRL for Russell. I won't question his taste, but here we are under the Armorall Bridge coming in to the last corner, and then we'll start here for 25 minutes at Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
So for Ross then, brings the field round nice and slowly. It's when he looks to the line, when he reaches the line, that he will punch it. Keeps it slow, keeps it slow. The tension builds here as they head underneath the bridge. The planes fly over, and we are racing here at Mount Panorama. Furos there leading Lightning and Matu into Hell Corner. No early moves as of yet. Everyone choosing to keep it clean, it seems. But I think there is someone up the back there. I think it's Derek and M. Thomas from the midfield taking each other out, unfortunately. Ugo involved in that as well as we head down the mountain straight and we make our ascent up the mountain itself. It's still Furos who leads then, heading into Griffin's Corner. Lightning following close behind Matu, Adam, Koke in close pursuit. A shame to see a few of the guys dropping off there, but relatively clean throughout the rest of the field it seems. Pamonku and Azorian making their way up as well. Looks like number 4 maybe had a bit of an off moment at Griffin's as we continue on through Quarry and up through Frog Hollow. Furos just maintaining this gap, and it's at this point, Jimmy, where there's not really much point in overtaking on these early laps. You're going to be very close to the wall if you do. No,
it's been a massive disaster of a start for M. Thomas, Ugo and Pumpunku. They've all plummeted down the order. We just saw a glimpse of it at T1 at Hell Corner. Cars being shoveled off in the background. Not quite sure who the instigator for that was. It was a very brief glimpse we got there as TRL Furos just grazes the wall on the way down. They don't do that too many times, mate. You're going to end up leaving some body panels behind. But that's a really bad start for M. Thomas, who again was very successful a couple of weeks ago. Not the way to start here around Bathurst.
On board with Koke then, looking ahead at the 4 drivers in front of him, 4 very established names at this late point of the championship now. Heading down the Conrod Straight for the first time of asking, a bit of slipstreaming to be had. Adam. And I think Lightning choosing to stay out there, but look at Adam here, already having a sighter on Matu ahead. Again, oh my goodness, almost running into the rear of Matu as well, who was slow through that 21st and 22nd corner situation. I think that especially given his form throughout this season, we could be expecting a move maybe sooner rather than later. But like I say, there's no need to put your car at risk, especially in these early stages.
No, great traction there out of Conrod 4 off the corner there for Conrod, sorry, for GTP. Adam just had the better runoff there. Now in the slipstream of Matu, but at the front we have our fight here between the 2 TRL guys, Furos and Lightning. Lightning in the slipstream now, you see putting up to the back of his teammate. Will he lift? Now he goes to the inside here. Will he make a move? Right, side by side, door handles touching there as we go through Griffin's now up the hill for Furos, still side by side with Lightning. He does have the inside though for the cutting. I think he's going to hold it off for now. Lightning slots back in behind. if that's how this race is going to be from lap 2, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what this has to offer.
Inter-team shenanigans, I love a bit of that. Up the hill we go once again then. You'd argue that perhaps one of the places that you'd like to be in this battle would be on board with Matu here, although again, clouting the wall, clobbering the curbing, and just about keeping his car in one piece. And Lightning and Fuvaros, I'm sure TRL will be in their aisle saying, listen, keep it clean, keep it nice. You can show that you can battle, you know, cleanly and all that, but please keep it on track. If anything was to happen between the two of them, then Matu is going to benefit. Although, to be fair, it's very much sword in one hand and shield on the other arm, trying to angle behind. Adam and Conke still in very close pursuit. And actually, Manu Rodri, Alexini also very close behind those guys. Before then, it's a bit of a little gap back to Tishney, who's already picked up a penalty.
Now here's what I want to see. I want to see if these guys are fuel saving at all on the strike. We did see some strategy coming into the last race where people who save fuel ended up having the better run towards the end. Of course, we do have a ×5 fuel simulation round here, so to make that easy to understand, 1 lap around here on circuit is the equivalent to 5 laps of fuel, and what that means is there will be a pit stop forced during the race. Now, given that this is a 25-minute race, you want to try and have that somewhere bang in the middle, if you can make it last, of course. But if you maybe are in a position right now, like GTP Adam, where he can't really move from 4th place, maybe you run it on lean going over the mountain, save a bit of fuel, so when you come out towards the end, you can just crank it up and go fast.
Back to the mountain straight then. You can already see this battle, which was P1 and P2, has extended all the way down to Manu Rodri and Alexini. And it's simply the nature of this circuit. If no moves are made, if the pace is not as fast as the potential of those behind, then you will very much see this bottle corking effect. And it's in this effect where the most incidents potentially happen. Of course, these being the top 24 drivers, the superstars. You'd imagine that they are probably going to keep it in one piece, but nothing is guaranteed in motor racing, Jimmy, virtual or otherwise.
They're usually good boys. It's like having a rowdy class of children, these guys. So sometimes they're a bit naughty, give them a slap on the wrist, but most of the time they behave themselves. Of course, you mentioned people sort of concertinaing together, really. Bear in mind, we have 2 very long straights here. So if you are okay through the mountain, that won't be enough. The guy behind top slipstream, he's going to just come back at you down the straight. So really, the TRL Lightning's in a good position right now because he hasn't got to be especially fast over the mountain. I say in context, of course, they're all going over there far quicker than either you or I could at this point. But they can sort of take it easy a bit, right, say, okay, I'm 6 tenths behind, and watch that gap now come down the straight. That is the slipstream in effect. He's basically getting a free tow down the straight. His top speed is going to be higher than TRL Fuvaros's. As we come down now through Conrad, through the chase, touch the curb on the inside very nicely. The car get a little bit loose there. You hit the brakes here. Now the last part of that braking zone is uphill, so you have to tell yourself you can brake later because gravity comes to your aid in the last part. If you don't brake later, you end up just coming to a stop pretty much before the corner even happens, and there's a guy up your inside and you've lost a place. So your brain's telling you to slow down, but you've got to ignore that. You've got to just put your foot down and hope for the best.
2 to 3 seconds between the top 7 then. I am very curious actually looking at Fuvaros. He looks absolutely supreme at the top of the circuit, suggesting that he's maybe got a little bit more wing on his car. But I'm looking a little further down the order, and one of the men caught out in that first corner incident, M. Thomas. He's actually done a pretty good job in the rear of the field, moving his way back up the order, up to P18, proving that overtaking, it is very possible around this circuit, but you need to be committed, and certainly after being in an incident like that, you kind of expect him to maybe throw caution a little bit out the window. Speaking of, Inseek making his way past Markler there, but P13 as well.
I mean, it's of course, we have gone over this, but it's worth noting that this race is worth double points. So everyone's elbows out right now. This is a big event, and this is somewhere you want to be. You want to be towards the top end here. You've got GJ Tishney here with the penalty. That was most likely for some contact. It's quite hard to run off track around here unless you really do your best to do so. Although saying that, coming back down the hill, when you come over the crest and back down towards Forest Elbow, very easy to go a bit too quick over there and cut the course. Here is Jim Erosium Fat, someone we're used to seeing more towards the top of the field, not quite got the pace around here in the 4GT it seems, and there you go, as I say that, just gets a wheel on the grass, just about gathers it up, but it just shows you how quickly this track is to bite.
The Dipper almost claiming its first victim there, and I couldn't agree with you more. Usually if you're going to find yourself off the track, then you find yourself in the wall, in which case it's most likely game over. On board now with Rick, 918.
Very proud of his BMX, old Rick, it seems.
Very proud of his
his 918 BMX as he comes down the straight. He'll have a little bit of slipstream for the guys behind. Meanwhile, at the back of the front of the field, or back of the front, that makes sense, we have Fuvaros still defending from Lightning. The gap now down to under 0.3 of a second. Fuvaros must be really feeling that pressure from his teammate. And for what we've seen so far, there are no team orders. These guys are fighting.
His name may be Lightning, but he's rumbling like thunder. Look at Fuvaros there, with a little bit of a slip on the exit of Murray's. Lightning is going to try and get into the slipstream as best he can now. There's not really too much point in trying to engineer a move through hell, given that you've got the mountain straight to go through. This is where Lightning is going to try and find his angle of attack, because of course we saw them just a couple of laps previously going side by side. Lightning into the slipstream now, is going to pull out to the right. No mercy at the helm of this car, braking late. And into Griffins again. Fuvaros with some supreme grip around the outside edge of that corner. He remains ahead of Lightning.
He knows he's got more track to play with. When you take the inside line, you are forced to take a tighter line, so it's slower than you would usually go through there. When you have the outside line, although you do have to cover more ground, you have more track to play with. So what happened there is Fuvaros just gave him just enough room on the inside, basically being as kind as he can possibly be to his teammate while racing him. Looked for the exit and just planted the throttle, and TRL Lightning didn't have the exit speed. The thing is, though, these guys fighting, the thing that sort of demonstrates their pace to me is that while they're fighting, they're still kind of pulling away from the rest of them.
Yeah, they've opened that gap up to Matu by about a second or so. Matu now very much the bottle cork of this particular situation, involving Adam Koke and Manu Rodri. Alexani as well in there. Tijni in a world of his own, a further 2.8 seconds behind, still with that penalty to serve. Down the Conrad straight again we go. And it's another situation where they're slipstreaming. We're hurtling towards the first 10 minutes of this race completed as well, Jim. So I don't know whether these... Oh, here we go. Here is a move. And Lightning going through the chase there. He's going to be on the outside of turn 20. Fuvaros with the optimal line. Lightning trying to hold on. He takes to the grass. It was a good attempt, but Fuvaros, he had the higher ground.
That was fantastic defending there, but what you don't see behind is now Matu is right on us, only 2 tenths behind now in his car. So that's really bunched these guys back up. That might give Fuvaros a chance to pull away a little bit, try and break the slipstream. Still a second between the two of them. But you, as I said before, absolutely no team orders in the Team Red Line camp. These guys are going at it hammer and tong.
Bathurst giveth, and Bathurst taketh away. The gap all the way down as M. Thomas here becomes our first pitter. And you were talking about aiming for half-half generally. Well, 10 minutes, he's looking to perform an undercut of sorts.
It might be that he's stuck right now, because he's not in his qualifying position. He got battered off quite early on, got put down the field, and as a result, as some of these guys are finding, you sort of get caught behind other cars, so you can't quite do your true pace. I think N. Thomas has come right. My race is already not going too well. Let's take a gamble. Let's come in early. Let's try and get some clean laps in and see if I can move up the field that way.
But then looking at the likes of Matu, of Adam, of Koke, is it... Oh my goodness, Manu Rodri with a great save. Is he going to let Alexani through as well? No. Saved by the nature of the circuit. A massive moment there for Manu Rodri. We'll get back to that point about pit stops in a minute, but wonderful car control from the TLR driver.
Well, there's someone that isn't using traction control. You can see that. That was full on sideways. Formula D want their driver back, it seems, at this point. Great control by Manu. Of course, he'll be fit. He might need a new change of underwear after that, as you may do this thing around here, but he's kept it there. More importantly, he's somehow kept his position.
Deja vu, have you been to this place before? Goodness me. But yeah, now going back to that important point about pit strategies, is it not worth the likes of Matu, Adam Koke, Manu Rodri going for an early pit stop? Because as it is, Fuvaros, he's got that gap now, but he's not extending it. Lightning able to keep him at an arm's length. Surely you want a clean track ahead of you to gain a little bit of time as Matu there.
Lightning sideways going on the exit. We're going to see pit stops either this lap or next.
Look at that, Adam. Adam,
so here we go, all coming in
all
now.
in, yeah.
Piling into the pit lane, so it looks like we've reached the limit of the GT tank. You can see the fuel remaining there as a percentage on the right, so it looks like Matthew was really using a lot of fuel to stay out with his guys. Will anyone stay out? That's what I'm interested in. Yeah, we have some people stay out. We've got Rick BMX staying out, we've got TX3 Adam staying out as well. So the strategy has been cool. We have people on a split strategy, which means we're going to get a fantastic end to this race. When everyone does the same strategy, boring. We're not interested in that. And we've not seen that at all. We've got pretty much half the field in though. Is M. Thomas going to gain? That's what we want to see now. Where is M. Thomas?
Let's see, he's moving his way. Where is he on track now? Goodness me, all the people exiting the pit lane. He's up to P12, mind, alongside Tidgney, who's got a penalty. Oh, is he moving down and down now? It's kind of touch and go with pit lane exit.
Well, we'll let you know when we know where he ends up. But it seems that he wasn't actually quite... he has gained some places, I think. But anyway, back to the front of the field. Rick is now your leader, leading from TX3 Adam.
You know what as well? Look at Matu.
Wear.
Look at Matu in P8. He's overtaken Lightning on pit exit now.
That might have been a better entry there from Matthew. We didn't quite get to see it, so that's actually a huge development for the race. TRL Lightning, who was fighting for the lead with his teammate TRL Fufros. Also, GTP Adam is in between them as well. A bad stop there from TRL Lightning. He's gone from effectively second overall when everything's said and done, down to fourth with Matthew and GTP Adam taking the positions away.
I should mention, Koke from fifth to net first. He's behind Derek, who's the last of the guys who have not pitted. So we're talking about Adam, we're talking about Matu. We should really be talking about Koke 14 because he's just jumped 4 drivers.
Looks like Koke 14 is paying his pit guys a better wage than the rest of the other guys, it seems. That's a great stop from him, but now he's the one under pressure. How will he cope? Of course, we do have Derek DK, who owes a stop in that very wide Mustang. I'm sure he won't be making it too wide down the straight. He knows he's got to come in. But behind Koke, I think Fufros is only a 10th behind now. We look for a move. Let's get a camera on that, please. There we go. Oh, they're all side by side around there. Here we go. Then down to the left-handed Derek defends on the inside from Koke, but he's passed Fufros. Yes, he's still there. Sorry, Fufros trying to go around the outside. Not quite enough room. Will he ever go down to Griffins, though? Here comes GTP Adam as well. Who's it going to be? Looks like Koke is going to keep it on the last corner there. GTP Adam is still there in the background, on the grass a little bit there from Fufros. He is running on the ragged edge right now.
I tell you what, I'm not sure whether Koke is a religious man, but he'd be sending his prayers wherever to ensure that Derek went into the pit lane that time around. For him, it worked out, and the Spaniard now leads this race ahead of Fufros. Adam, Lightning, off the podium completely. Matu, who was racing for P3, all the way down in P7. So even though they all came in at the same time, it is massively, massively switched up the order. And now I do wonder whether we're going to be seeing the races go full ham, as you described it to me earlier, whether we're going to see people just flying to the line and saying, well, listen, it's double points. I've lost a bit of ground. I think it's time to make that ground back up.
Well, what I was able to ascertain from the pit stop is that these guys are running their final fuel. There's no saving needed here, so they can, as we said, go full ham and pretty much just put pedal to the metal and see what happens. And right now, Koke's probably wondering how he got there. I think we were wondering that as well, but he's could have a smile on his face regardless. These guys are all super fast, so there's not much difference in lap time over the mountain here. It all comes down to the straight where the slipstream comes into play. And speaking of that, there is Fufros. Now, I'd say you want to be within about 3-4 tenths of a second to have a go down through the chase, and he's there. He's got the slipstream. Better exit as well. Forest Elbow. Here we go then. Locking on to the back of Koke in front of that 40T. Look at the overspeed now. He's trying to keep it in the middle of the road just to try and keep things there, although he did put his indicator on there. It's almost to say, go left. I'm taking the inside line. Side by side through the chase. No, Fufros is through. There it is. Koke goes down to second, doesn't even try and come back on the cutback. Maybe he knows Fufros is a bit quicker. And
behind him as well, Lightning and Adam have exchanged positions, although they've exchanged positions once again, so I presume Adam putting in a bit more effort in the defensive side of his game to Koke, who he almost just allowed Fufros through. Maybe it is a case if he knows he's not as fast as Fufros and he's just going to let him as... Oh, and exiting into the wall! He gets Murray's horribly wrong there, and that allows his compatriot Manu through.
There's a replay of that, so Here is Alexi, tries to go around the outside here. Our Lightning just runs out of road, touches the wall there. So easy to do when you're exploring the limits of a track, but not quite able to keep the place at this time. Fivros now leading the race, and I don't really know as a racer. If I were Koke, I would be fighting. I'd be defending at this point. Bathurst is not an easy place to overtake. If you can make your car wide enough and get a decent run out of the elbow, then you're gold, really. But I guess he didn't fancy the fight today, or maybe he knows that maybe he's a good friend with Fivros. Who knows at this point? But importantly, GTA Ticheney is running in 8th at the moment. And of course, this being a double points race will be very good for his championship. His hope to try and get into the top 6. As we said before, there are 3 Brits in the top 6 in the nation's rankings right now. Ticheney is currently 12th, and as it stands, he does not qualify for the regional final because he is the 4th Brit in the standings. Hopefully that makes sense. Makes sense to me anyway. So he's looking to get as high as possible here. Of course, that penalty is not going to help. Back to 2nd and 3rd. DTP Adam right on the back of Koke now, coming down to Forest Elbow. We've got the straight coming up. Fireworks.
Fireworks indeed. I'm very curious to see what Koke 14 does here as we head on to Conrad then. The 9th time of asking, just about 6.5 minutes left of this race, so we're looking at 3 to 4 more laps. It of course entirely depends on when Fivros crosses the line. Adam getting into the slipstream, and once again Koke not choosing to defend that inside line. That's what Fivros did so many times to Lightning before, and again no defense. An open door for Adam to move his way into P2. What is going on with Koke, I wonder?
I can't say I understand. He's looking fairly aggressive there coming down to Murray's the last corner, but I don't really know. I think he's just not feeling fighty today. This is great for GTP Adam, though. Of course, he's currently leading our Nations Cup standings. So this is great for him, but doesn't seem to be playing the way of I think Koke is just happy to be there at this point. He doesn't really seem to be in a fighting mood at all.
Well, going back to that Nations point, I mean, he's outscoring currently all of his fellow Spaniards. Alexini in 5th, Manu Rodri in 6th. That's not the best case scenario, not like Ticheney with M. Thomas at least, but looking at Koke now, he's at least keeping in the slipstream of Adam, and I do wonder whether he is just happy to lock in the points as, back in P7.
Yeah, we say that. We have Spaniards now coming up through the field. Maybe there's something else going on there. Maybe there's preferential people he wants to see come through. Maybe he's dropping back on purpose. Conspiracy theories. We won't know what's going to happen to ship, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know. Matu, by the way, has got a penalty in 7th. Bit of a penalty, so that could be even better for Ticheney in 8th.
Maybe it's an inquisition when we least expect it. I can tell you, ladies and gents, that the reaction from Jimmy was exactly what I was going for. So yeah, interesting point there for Matu actually picking up a penalty, and for Ticheney, who's been able to close that gap to the Finn. Pretty important for him, because if he's able to make his way past Matu, that's even more points on the board. And like you say, he's not qualified at the moment, but it does not mean that his season is over by any stretch of the imagination. So it'll be good for him to make his way past the top 10, still currently rounding out by Adam 18, the Hungarian, and Belov 9.56 as we head into the final 4.5 minutes here. The big question on my lips personally now, Jim, is Lightning. Is he going to be able to get past Koke? He needs to reach him first with pace, but then on previous form, going into the chase, you'd suggest that the podium would be his if he does make it.
Yeah, I mean, we've only got 4 minutes left, so that translates as about 2 laps. It depends when Fivros crosses the line. I think it will be 2 laps at the line till the end of this race. Lightning are looking very feisty. The thing is, Koke hasn't really fallen back too much from DTP Adam. They're still quite close together, in fact close enough for a slipstream. DTP Adam trying to break the toe there on the short straight down to Hell Corner. So here is Koke coming out of Hell Corner, houses exit, using all the Astro on the side and a little bit more there, and the car gets loose as it tries to scramble for some sort of grip. They're all towing each other down the straight. Lightning getting ever closer. Of course, Lightning are winner from our last broadcasted race, both from the Manufacturer Series and the Nation Series, so not too unfamiliar to see him up the top of the field. But here is your masterclass right now. Fivros at the head of the field, coming through the cutting now. Just fantastic to see how close they can get to the walls. Here comes Lightning as well. Not really traditionally an overtaking spot, the cutting, but if you're close enough, then I've seen people give it a go.
Well, what's important for Lightning right now is just to stay in tow of Koke, of which he does. He has caught up to the Spaniards. And I'm looking at Adam ahead, and I think it's an important point to make that he's not really pulled away as much as perhaps he would have liked. It's allowing Koke to pick up a little bit of slipstream as well. But
Lightning.
look at that. As soon as Lightning was looking to put Koke under a little bit of pressure, all of a sudden, oh no, I've got to go into defensive mode. It's a real mixture of emotions, I feel, for Koke at the moment.
A penalty for TRL Fuvros. He's going to have to slow down and give that up. This race is back on. So here we go then. Will he slow down now? Will he wait for the end of the race? But now that means 1 of 4 people can win this race. And TRL Lightning's ears just perked up, I think. Goes, right, okay, I've seen that. Now it's time for me to make some headway. Here we are then, Koke. Will he go to the inside here? Will we see him defend? Looks like he's going to try and stay on the left-hand side. Lightning goes to the inside. He'll have the... No, he's not. He's going to wait. He's going to wait for the left-hander at the end. Adam having to try and block a little bit as well. He's got no slipstream down the straight. They're all going to stay 2, 3, 4 for now. But right now, the person in second place is pretty much...
Oh!
Big spin. Lightning gets on the grass, touches the curb on the exit and spins round. His chances of winning this race go down the toilet. Lightning is going to be very, very angry at himself. That here's a replay, just seeing right up behind. Koke comes to the left-hand side of the circuit, wheel on the grass, and then you go round, bam, wall, day done.
Grip was at a premium. You saw Adam just slipping a little bit himself, but Lightning, it was double the peril and double the trouble. He's not fallen as far as I was thinking. I mean, to be in that position, car the wrong way around as well. I thought it was going to drop a lot more, only down to P9, so he's still scoring a decent amount of points. But oh goodness me, he's been the center of the action for a lot of this race. I didn't think he was hoping to be in that position, so that promotes Adam up to 8th, Tijni up to 7th, so that's incredibly good for him. Matu up for 6 as well. But let's go back to this point about Fuvros picking up a penalty. He must have picked it up through the dipper on the last lap. And speaking of last laps, I think we're potentially maybe there. It's going to be very close.
It is going to be very close. This could be the last lap. Fuvros hits the wall again. He's making mistakes now. He's under pressure. He knows he needs to be quick towards the end of the circuit because he has to give up a penalty. GTP Adam is going to be having his eyes fixed on the back of that very interesting liveried Ford GT in front of him. But there, Koke as well behind. So this is a three-man race here for your win at Bathurst. I think we're on the final lap coming down to the Forest Elbow. Who's going to be close enough? Here we go then.
It must be. The big question is, when is he going to serve that penalty? Can he afford to serve that penalty on that back straight? We're going to find out. Adam, Koke, they don't really have much slipstream between them. Fuvros has opened up about a second gap. Closing. Comes Adam for GTP. We're on board now with Koke, looking further up. Oh, this is going to be the final lap. I can't see them.
He's trying to serve the penalty. He's trying to serve the penalty the best he can. Looks like Koke's fallen off. I think he might be out of fuel. Here comes Adam, though, towards the end. It is the final lap. Here we go, then, towards the end, coming down to Griffin's GTP. Adam right on the back of Fuvros with that penalty. He's going to have to serve it. This could be Adam's win. Here we go, last corner. Will he slow down? Pulls to the left of the circuit. Tries to get rid of his penalty. Slows down. Here comes Adam.
Oh, he's taken it!
Yes!
Oh, my goodness me! He has taken it by the smallest of margins. 2.5 tenths of a second is your points leader. Adam, who takes the win from Fuvros. That penalty, so damaging in the end. Koke was leading this race. He let people through and he's come out with it, a podium of all things. Good for him. Alexei there with a late overtake on Manu Rodri, picks up P5. Matu P6 ahead of Adam, who was, he took advantage actually of Tijni's penalty. So Tijni not able to get past Matu. It cost him dearly as well. Lightning after that massive incident, P9. And Azorian Fat there for Gym Racing, rounding out the top 10. It was like a good soup, that one, Jimmy. It's you like it hot, but it's got to simmer for a while. But goodness me, when it boiled up and over, it was a glorious race to behold.
Lightning is going to be kicking himself, but don't let that take anything away from GTP Adam. He shows why he is the current leading driver in the Nation Series. Not only the leading Brit, but the leading driver full stop, and takes home a massive 4,302 points. Not a bad evening's work there from GTP Adam.
Oh, where do we even start to dissect that, Jimmy? Ultimately, the strategy played a major part, but not in the way that we were expecting. We were thinking, oh, it's going to be the differing types of strategy, but that pit stop where over 75% of the field came in, it switched the order up, and it ultimately had a huge effect.
It did, and it sort of shows that the strategy that was the popular strategy was the best strategy, it seems, around here. We did see M. Thomas coming to try and gain some places back. In the end, he finished a respectable 15th, which is not too far off where he qualified, to be honest. I think that's about the best he can hope for. But again, I can't get over the mistake from Chiaro Lightning. He's been bulletproof. We've seen races with him where he's just gone flag to flag and had no issues, and they're a rare mistake, and it just goes to show that Bathurst is one of those circuits. He did the tricky bit. He did the tricky bit and then got to the bottom, hit the grass and went off.
Ultimately, the chase was the part of the track where all of the moves were made, and I don't want to say it because I know so many drivers in the e-racing scene that say, it's not a problem, but is pressure starting to affect him?
100%. People who say that don't know what it's like to drive in a sim race. I mean, you feel the pressure in a fake race, in a real race, where the pressure is real. I've been there before. You're sitting there, you've got someone very fast behind you on the last lap. They've got faster tyres, they've got a faster car, and you're sitting there trying to make sure they don't get past, you know, and that can happen. The thing is, TRL Lightning, he was actually in pole position, so to speak, for that win. He could have taken that. And I think maybe he knew that, and he maybe got a bit complacent. But no, that's something we'll have to just think about for now. We won't get a firm answer on that.